later in the hour. Red Wings off to a hot start, 5-1 this season. And I don't know if you've heard, they're celebrating a century of Red Wings hockey. They've got their Fan Fest event coming up November 6th through the 9th, Motor City Casino Hotel. Meet and mingle with over 50 Red Wings legends, Hall of Famers. We're talking Sergei Fedorov, Nick Lidstrom, Steve Yzerman, who's set to join us here in a second. Tickets are going fast. DetroitRedWings.com/FanFest today. Steve, good morning. It's going to be nice to get everybody back into town.
Yeah, it always is good to see the former teammates. A lot of our guys live in Europe, the Swedes, and obviously the Russians. So really looking forward to the weekend.
Who's the guy that maybe you played with that you haven't seen in the longest time? Maybe you've talked to him, but you just haven't seen him in person.
Well, Sergei, it's been a while, with the war in Russia and limitations on our ability to get over there. Used to run into him at the World Championships every spring. So I look forward to seeing him. I'm not sure if Igor can make it or not. I'd probably not. He's coaching. But we'll get a chance to see Sergei and then see him again when we retire his jersey in January.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Steve Yzerman's starting 5 of all-time Red Wings, 100 years to pick from. Who would you go with?
Well, Gordy, obviously, on the wing. That would be one. Center, Pavel. But you couldn't be wrong with any of the choices. Other winger, Ted Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
On the back end, it would be Nick Lidstrom, Red Kelly, and in net, Terry Sawchuk.
All right. I'm sure people will debate that endlessly. A lot of names to choose from.
When you look at this,
yeah, you could pick like 3, and you could name Sergei in the middle. You could name Pavel, Alex Delvecchio.
Steve, you could be in the middle.
Many good choices.
Steve, you could be in the middle.
Yeah. Well, you asked me to pick my team, so
okay.
if I'm on your team, thanks. But I picked my team.
Yeah. So let's talk just a little bit about this team. Obviously, it's a great start. What are you seeing on the ice that makes you believe this is truly who this team is and it's sustainable more than just the 5 or 6 games that we've seen to this point?
Well, we've played 5 out of 6 at home. We got 6 out of the next 7 on the road. I think that'll give us a little bit more indication of where we're at, where we need to improve on, or what our strengths are. Obviously, we like the 5-1 record is great, but I like a lot of the little things we're doing well. Our penalty killing seems to be on the right track. The goaltending has been solid. Game 1 for John Gibson was more about our team's poor play than it was on him. It was one-timers and 2-on-1s and breakaways. So I think our goaltending has been excellent. But like I said, we're going 6 to 7 on the road now. You don't necessarily coach doesn't get his matchups on line changes, the visiting or the home team can put their top guys out and see if they can get an advantage that way. It's important for our guys to respond, but I don't think we've played great. I think we can play better. I'm expecting us to get better, but I certainly like the 5-1 start.
People are highlighting some of these young guys too, right? Pellikka nets his first career goal. Finney gets his first goal. A lot of these guys making an impact. What are you seeing from the young guys?
Yeah, and the new faces in Brandsig Nygaard as well. They're skilled and they're fast. And actually, all 3 of them are pretty strong. Although Axel Sandin Pellikka would be like 5'11" and a half, not considered big for a D-man, but they're skilled, they're fast, smart hockey players, and interject that speed and skill into the lineup. One player can have an impact, and I think all 3 of them, they've scored a little bit, but I think they've played very well and created opportunities for us. And just again, I like the skill and the speed that they play with.
I guess maybe a 2-part question here. When you have these young guys, and especially as many young guys as you have, pairing them with the veterans, how have you seen the young guys influence the veterans and vice versa? How are you watching and seeing some of those veterans have an impact on the young players?
Yeah, well, new face like Mason Appleton, kind of a smart, a little bit of a jack of all trades. He's gone with the injury to Patrick Kane. He's moved up. He's a solid defensive, a good checker, good penalty killer, and he's chipped in a couple of goals early. So that's been a nice impact. But we're being led. Dylan, our captain, named first star of the week in the NHL, has performed really well. He sets an example with his work ethic, professionalism on a daily basis. So, I'm trying to think on the back end with Ben Sherrod. We got a pretty young decor all of a sudden, and with Ben Sherrod, a veteran, being asked to do a lot, him and Mo together, they steady the ship a little bit and keep everybody calm, and they go out in a lot of difficult situations and perform well.
A lot of your draft picks on the team, I think I count 9. When do you consider the rebuild to be over?
When we're a consistent playoff team. For me, or maybe more generic or broadly, when we're trading future assets potentially for players that are going to help us immediately. Older guys, maybe that's when. But I'd like to think we're done rebuilding when you're hey, now we're talking about playoffs and advancing in the playoffs.
Are playoffs a fair barometer for you guys for this season? I mean, some of it's the hot start, some of it is coming up short the last couple years.
A barometer for what? Sorry.
Judging progress. Like, would the playoffs be a fair barometer for progress?
Well, if we made the playoffs, I'd certainly say that's progress for us, yes.
Because we look at teams in the division, like 2 years ago, Ottawa, Montreal, not every situation's the same, but 2 years ago, they're dead last. Young teams, they've expedited the process, they've made the playoffs. I think we've seen other teams do it quicker. Is that a fair criticism that the other teams in the division have been able to do that quicker than you guys?
No, I'm not sure I would agree with that. Every situation is a little bit different, as just pointed out. No, we've kind of tried to take the same approach that they have. You draft, you're patient, let your young guys develop, and there are two teams that are benefiting from that drafting and developing well, and I think our time is coming.
You've been in playoff position, in the start of March. The last couple of years, March has been a tough month. Do you see in your team the ability to overcome that obstacle? Do you have what it takes this year, the components in place, where you think you can overcome at least that month of March?
Well, March is a long way off. We'll see how these young kids continue to perform. We'll see the health of our team. I like the play, of the core of our team. I think with, Dylan, Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, you have Lucas Raymond, Mo Sider, who are both in their 5th year now and have been around and they've gained valuable experience. So I think that will help our team come March, but we got a lot of work to do before we get to that point, and we'll assess where we're at. But I think we're better equipped here. We're a little bit deeper, a little bit more talented. That along the way here, I hope we win more hockey games, and I expect us to win more.
Joined by the Red Wing general manager Steve Yzerman. You're beloved in this city, like for the performances you had on the ice, and certainly the cachet that your name brings. As the rebuild has dragged on, I know you hear this stuff and this criticism, whether you're engaging with it or not. On a human level, what is that dynamic like to have fans who feel very strongly about you and want it to work, but at the same time are growing impatient?
Well, I'm not the least bit surprised. I don't have issue with it. Rebuilding is a challenge, and I knew this was going to be a challenge when I accepted the position. I'm confident in the process. I excited about where our team is going, the players we have in the system, and the prospects we have coming. Being the general manager of any professional sports team is challenging. You have to, expect criticism, expect to be second guessed, and I don't have an issue with it. So that comes with the job, and we'll continue to stick with our process, and I believe we're getting there, and our fans will be rewarded for their patience and support. Hopefully sooner than later, obviously.
I know that obviously there's a lot of events going on this year for the 100 years celebration. And at the Fox Theater on November 8 at Hockeytown, or at least celebrating the 100 years of Hockeytown, hosted by Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond, there's going to be you, Fedorov, Lidstrom, Zetterberg, Bowman. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be sharing stories, telling stories about the glory days and their playing days. Give us a story you might consider sharing, or one that maybe is just underneath the story that you're going to share at that time. What's a memory that you have as a player that stands out to you?
One, I'll try to be brief about it, but going back to '97, the year we won our first Stanley Cup. We had, let me think here, we had won Game 4 against Colorado. It was in the semifinals. I think we won 6-0. And the game ended, it was pretty violent. We went into Colorado for Game 5, and they beat us 6-0. We come home right before the game. Scotty wasn't big on real, kind of coming in and giving motivational speeches or whatnot. He was very methodical. Went over, things he wanted to do with the team. But on this particular instance, he came in and delivered like a pregame speech, which was, for me, just it was incredible. Basically he said, guys, it's time for you to play. This is a game you have to win. You will look back on your life. You'll rue the day if you don't go out there and perform to the best and go out and play. And he repeated the line, "You will rue the day," over and over and over, and that sticks with me forever. And we went out. We ended up winning the game, I think 3-1. I think collectively as a team, it was the best game we ever played.
See, this is the type of stuff people are going to get. The event is, again, at the Fox Theater, 100 Years of Hockey, November 8th, DetroitRedWings.com/Fox event. Steve, look forward to having you on again, maybe in March, so we can follow up on that question that it's too hard to answer at this point, but we appreciate having you on.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
He's the general manager, Steve Yzerman. It's 97.1.